Good morning, gang. I'm off island again on a grand tour. It's going to take me to some very interesting towns, and I figured, why not take you guys along? Sure, have a little walk. We'll start with a fairly small town, we'll work up a little bit, then up and up and up, ultimately winding in Paris, France. But today, we're going to start in the small Caribou interior town of Quesnel, BC. That's supposed to be a pan. That's supposed to be a lump of gold. I'm probably going to get a lot of the history wrong, but I'll probably correct it down below here, hopefully. Let's get it on. First thing to know is that this is a train station, the old train station, because there's a ton of tracks here. This is a major confluence area where I think that's about 12 tracks wide, which if you take the population of Quesnel divided by the number of tracks, is probably more tracks wide than any other town in British Columbia. True? I don't know. Let's continue our walk. Oh, need my coffee. And there will be cigars on this. Tannerite, talk a little bit about Quesnel while we're on the walk. Apparently, Quesnel used to be an old fishing village prior to Eastern European settlers. The home of the Rocky Mountaineer. The Rocky Mountaineer comes through Quesnel. It's a lovely old building here. It's got some fairly new siding, probably courtesy of the local home hardware. But let's continue our walk. We're gonna have to zip across a few lanes here. That is Billy Barker. Well, it's not Billy Barker, it's a wood carving of Billy Barker. It's a gold panner. And you hear a lot about Billy Barker. Billy Barker Days, the Billy Barker Hotel, Barkerville, named for Billy Barker, not Bob Barker. Probably should have brought gloves. There's some old stagecoaches. There's a bench in memory of Lois Muriel Dawson. One of these old stagecoaches. Check it out. This is a Quesnel museum. Currently not open because it's only 7:30. It's actually a pretty cool building. Has its own gift shop. Working man of Quesnel. This is the puddle at Kinchin Street. I wonder if Kinchin Street is still around. This is Billy Barker's headquarters. Billy Barker Days, July 18 to 21. And now, let's hit downtown. Holy crap! The BC Winter Games are here in less than 3 weeks. So my plan is to take a walk through the old part of town, downtown core, and then go across the Moffat Bridge, which spans the Fraser River. Fraser River, of course, named for Simon Fraser, not Russ Fraser. Little Pioneer Cemetery. Maybe we'll take a little walk through the Pioneer Cemetery. stay along the fence line, not to walk on anyone. But there's kind of a cool memorial here that I wanted to show. This is Chinese pioneers interred in the cemetery. A lot of Chans, a lot of Chus, a lot of Chows. One day, one Fu, some Wings and some Wongs. Look at the years. It's kind of a nice cemetery. There's some deer pellets. Paying homage to Eliza Dale. Eliza Dale passed away in 1912. We've had our share of the cemetery. We'll take a little bit of a lovely parking lot for you to park in case you were at a ceremonial a burial event, or it could be overflow parking for Craig's Table. Craig's Table not open on a Saturday morning. Oh yeah, it's a little fire hydrant painted up. Fire hydrant painted up like the working man. Working man. Well, Simon Fraser is actually Canadian. That's right, Canadian. Born in 1776, May 20th. And he was only 30 years old when he was tasked with coming out here to find a waterway to the west coast. Nice old St. Andrew's Church. Church was built in 1911, and the day that it was finished, in 1911, the day that it was finished, St. Andrew's Church was the newest church in the world. Bell tower has a 600-pound bell up there. 600 pounds. That's a lot of pounds to you and me. Another fire hydrant. Okay, serious moment here now. My fingers are frozen. There's a memorial to the glorious dead. So these are the men of the Caribou that fell in the Great War 1914 to 1918, and then was added on for the Second World War, because I guess we didn't get it right in the first. This was put up here in 1922 apparently, and then we added the Korean War on the end. Good men, good women. Okay, freezing fingers I guess I can handle. Continuing on, we're down in a little bit of a valley. If you look around, you can see there's hills all around. So we kind of come down in this little valley. Makes it an ideal spot. I could understand why, when they came here, it was a native fishing village, and they decided, you know what, it makes sense. We should probably make something a little bigger here. Some old buildings off to the right here. We'll check those out, and a Petrocan. The Aboriginal Education Center is here on my right, along with the Helen Dixon Center, and evidently a car lot. Apparently the good folks at Dodge were able to set up a car lot out front of a school and an Aboriginal center. Nice work, Chrysler. Perhaps it's overflow. It looks like this is their actual sales office. The time that it was built, it was the newest Dodge office in the world. The day that they opened, it was the newest one in the world. Wasn't opened in the newest building in the world, but it was the newest. This very much has the markings of a city hall, like we like to do in BC. Put local rocks on the outside of our buildings. Oh, and look, up ahead. It's the Billy Barker Casino Hotel. The day they opened the casino, it was the newest casino in the world. Sort of done like a stage boat motif. Could be a cool balcony. Apparently, no vacancy. The hotel is closed on Mondays. How do you close a hotel on Mondays? And you're in BC, so you can't go too far without cannabis. That's right. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a cannabis shop in BC. We're going to continue on up, I want to say this is called Gordon Street. I may be wrong. If I am wrong, I'll correct it in the bottom. I'm going to correct myself. That was McLean Street. We're now on the corner of McLean and St. Laurent. The fire hydrant painted up like a dog. A lot of people think of Quesnel for one thing and one thing only, and that's the smell from the pulp mill when you come into town, which admittedly is very overpowering. Well, that wasn't City Hall. City Hall's over here. Oh, okay. Or you think of Quesnel for that A&W as you leave town on the north end that no one's ever at and has the spicy dill pickle buddy burgers. But there's a lot more to it. There's a grill and chill. Look, another cannabis. Hive cannabis. Caribou cannabis. Probably a very similar concentration of cannabis shops here as there are in Lloydminster, Alberta, on the Alberta side. Friendly guy giving us a wave this morning. Now we'll take a walk down Main Street of town. Little clock. See what kind of retail options we have here in Quesnel. Bank of Montreal. You get your cash out before you do the big city walk. Granville's Coffee. Well, you see signs about Granville's Coffee. The Urban Clothing Company. Books and Company. Oh, little bookshop and gift store. Movie theater showing Argyle. And Frankenstein coming soon. Reed Street Pharmacy. Nice. Homesteader Health. We're going to have to find a cannabis shop here for sure. It's got to be a cannabis shop. Very quiet in town this morning. Post office. Cycle Logic. That sounds like a name that's stolen. A little goldsmith. Gold nugget jewelry. Oh, everyone's done it for Valentine's. Nice. Hand warmers. That's a good idea. Mo Chara. I don't know what they do. Jewelry. Oh, and you gotta have Western wear. If you don't have your boots and your shirts, you're no good to anybody. This looks like a banking corner. CIBC, TD, Scotiabank. Oh, and a nice little bench for a fella to have a seat. Nice little bench right here. Couple more blocks of Reed Street and we'll go around, take a wander across the Moffat Bridge. All right, let's do it. Let's take a chance and just walk right down the middle of the road. Chances are, when we're doing a walk through Chilliwack, Vancouver, or Paris, France, we will not have this option. So let's enjoy it while we can. Wide open space. Oh, the Himalayan kitchen. For all your Himalayan and Indian dining desires. Man, it's quiet here. Almost too quiet. Oh, look up yonder. It's the Moffat Bridge. Jump across here and check out this old building. You can see in the background, everyone nods at you. Everyone nods. But you can see in the background the zombies are up. Ooh, Old West. There's a pond in here. Fine old hand-carved beams. This is the Caribou house. This is the Hudson's Bay building. Built in 1882. 1882, like 150 years old. Which, I mean, when we get to Paris, we're going to see a lot older buildings, but that's pretty cool, 150 years old. All right, moving on. So this old trestle bridge, well, it was the only way to cross the Fraser River in Quesnel for over 40 years before they started building all the other bridges. Originally it had a sign, because it was a horse bridge, it said horses must not exceed walking pace. So you weren't allowed to speed your horse across here. Let's see what else they got over here. Some old water wheels. Heritage corner for obvious reasons. Old water wheel. What is this? This is an old boiler. Some kind of old boiler here. Then this thing. Jeez. Imagine if they use this for a transformer. That thing would be badass when it came to life. A lot of ice flowing down the Fraser this morning because it's hella cold. The other interesting thing about this area of the Fraser is on May long weekend every year, to celebrate the birth of Simon Fraser, 8 million aquatic squirrels spawn upriver to their ancestral home, which which is a little further up in Hickson. That might not be true. It might be 7 million. Sun's coming up. Ooh, it's gonna be sweet. I think as trestle bridges go, this one's pretty long. Oh man. Oh man. There is zero protection from the wind. Oh, there's a... We're almost there. We are almost there. I'd say some of these beams have been upgraded and renewed in the last little while. Very cool. And nighttime, I guess all these lights come on. Unless they're heaters, that would be good. Oh, looks like they got dogs. They're allowed to walk here. And no requirement to pick up after them. And as we get to the far west side of the Moffat Bridge, we find ourselves in West Quesnel. Wounded. You're probably thinking Quesnel must have some sort of a native meaning, like really cold place or something. It isn't actually. Quesnel, Simon Fraser named the area, or the town, I guess, Quesnel, after... Oh, I got a little rub on here I gotta get off. The heck? I'm gonna have to redo this entire video. There's a dot in the middle of the screen. Nobody told me that. So Quesnel was named after Jules Quesnel, who was a clerk that accompanied Fraser on his expedition in 1808. So you got Fraser, who's 32 years old, accomplishing a fair bit by that time, gets here, likes the place, but not enough to name it after himself, his wife, his kids, or anything like that. Picked a company clerk, named it after that. So there you go. Right, start to make our way back. Get ourselves sorted out here. It wasn't a pick, it was a scratch. Lovely sunrise over Quesnel as we make our way back across the bridge. Evidently, another interesting fact about Quesnel is that I used to live here. They tell me that between the ages of 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, I lived here. I don't remember. I have one memory of being here, and that was the day, you know, it's hard to even talk about it. I remember chickens running around with their heads cut off. I guess that was a thing here at one point in time. We had chickens, and oop, watch out for the dog crap. We had chickens, and don't remember naming any of them, but I do remember chickens with their heads cut off. But anyway, so there's my happy memory, and hopefully the Moffat Bridge has provided you with some. Let's make our way back now to the truck and conclude our tour of Quesnel. Oh look, a shopping cart crammed in the trestle bridge. Someone actually took the time to do that. That didn't happen on its own. Such a shame. Just walked past a chicken feather. Flashbacks are coming. so crunchy. Here's an interesting fact. This building, 130 McLean, when it was first built, it was the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. Believe me? No, probably not. That one's probably a little bit of a stretch. And they put these car dealerships in the weirdest places. Right? Like that's the Quesnel Day program, and Chevy's got all their cars on the lot. Interesting. Don't see that very much in a lot of other places, but apparently you're allowed to put your car lot wherever you want around here. We'll get back up to Carson Avenue, one of the main streets. We're on the corner of Carson and Reed right now. Carson and McLean. Carson and Reed is one more over where the Chevron is. We're at Carson and McLean right now, making our way back. The new Buicks are out. New logo, same old Buick. Iron Dragon Martial Arts. Something tells me that used to be a different enterprise in there. Looks like an old community hall. Craig's Table opened their doors. I don't understand why the Seniors Community Center doesn't have a car dealership on it. Everyone else gets a car dealership. Senior Center, no car dealership. One last interesting piece of information. There's a Dodge Intrepid over there. The moment that it came off the assembly line, it was the newest car in the world. That's true. What didn't last long, but it was the newest car in the world when it came off the assembly line, that very moment. Think about that for your 86 Tercel or your 2004 Jeep. At one point, it was the newest car in the world. Think about that. And with that, we're back with the big gonad and the gold pan and wrapping up our tour of Quesnel. Thanks for joining me.